says now live. I have to refresh. Say something, Assassin?
Something.
Oh, wow. That deep, sexy voice. Okay. No, we are live. We're definitely live. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 4GwQPodcast podcast. This is episode number 158 for December 14th, 2017. I'm your host, Inferno217. We have other members of the crew here making his 158th straight appearance. And before I say his name, I want to say that he almost missed this for the sake of Star Wars, but we're glad to have him here and not see the streak end. It's ZPCI Assassin. What's going on, bud?
Hi.
And Taylor's not with us again this week because she's actually going on a cruise. I think that was a Christmas gift. She's going on a cruise out of LA, so she's currently driving from Arizona to LA. So that's a nice drive. I've done that drive. It's nice. If you don't have a nice car, you could get stuck because it's very hilly, high altitude, but it's actually an extremely scenic drive. But in any case, last but not least, we have Italian Clowns. What's going on, bud?
Oh, what's up?
Nothing much. Just I've been trying to game when I can. I've only really played one game this week, and we'll get to it later in the show. And that, of course, is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is finally out on Xbox platform. It's available for both Xbox One X and Xbox One S. But if you were to look at how they played, you'd think they were two separate games. But we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll also talk about, last week we did our pre-game awards show, and a lot of our predictions came right. A lot of them didn't come right, but we will talk about the winners and if we're surprised or not, or what we think of the show. That show, if you guys didn't watch it, the full 4K replay is actually available if you just search Game Awards 2017 on Google, so you'll be able to check that out if you missed it by some odd chance. But apparently viewership was up threefold this year from 2016 to 2017, so pretty impressive showing for the Game Awards. Looks like that's coming back into prominence. And of course, we'll get into the big decision today. Net neutrality is going to be over in the U.S. So fun couple years we had of net neutrality where everyone had kind of very similar access to the internet, and the government regulated it. But
there's been a little bit some updated news on that, but we can get into it later.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into that. You can update us clowns as the events of the day have unfolded. That kind of happened a little bit earlier today, so it's been a few hours. So some new information apparently about that. So before we get into this topic, want to announce a few things really quick. Check in the description below, of course, for our affiliate links. I know you guys are doing holiday shopping. You don't want to shop through those links, so your boys over here and girl at 4GwQPodcast can get a little bit of a kickback. So, click those links. You don't have to necessarily buy what comes up in the window, but make a purchase of some sort. You don't have to pay any more money. We get a little bit of kickback. So, thanks, affiliates. You'll see those links below. Also, there is a direct donation link if you guys are interested. We would appreciate that, and we will absolutely flip that around and make the show better and do some cool giveaways. And speaking of giveaways, we are part of the Ultimate Christmas Giveaway by Chicken Spaghetti. Big.
Yes, thank you, Chicken. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Chicken was gracious enough to include us in his ultimate giveaway. He's giving away a ton of stuff. I mean, he's sponsoring a bunch of podcasts that he listens to and really enjoys, and we're one of them. And you can have an opportunity to win like a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One S. We're giving away a few codes for Xbox Game Pass, so you'll see that Gleam giveaway probably tonight, and we'll run it for a few days. At the end of that, 5 people will win some Xbox Game Pass codes. Unfortunately, I believe it's US only, but I will confirm that after the show. So go down. It'll be in the description later when I set up the giveaway officially, and we'll tweet the hell out of that. So make sure you're following us at 4GwQPodcast on Twitter for details on that. Also, we're up for the best podcast of 2017 on Tick Gaming Network. So, we're going up against an awesome podcast, the Iron Lords podcast. Been on that show. Love those guys. Met them in person. Amazing guys. And Short Pause Gaming, I haven't been on that show. I've watched it a couple times. Good podcast. So some stiff competition. If you guys would go to the description, click that link, vote for us. That would be greatly appreciated. So when they make their decision finally, based on those votes, we will emerge victorious, right? So make sure you guys do that. But yeah, let's get right into it. I know Assassin was really happy to see the video game awards.
Don't get me started.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Assassin, but I think I saw you tweet. On Larry Herb's, also known as Major Nelson. His Twitter was like, Fall Friday or Free Code Friday. What did you think of the Game Awards in like one sentence or something, or one word or whatever it was? And Assassin was just like boring or some shit. So let me get to Assassin first. You watched the show. What do you think?
So I didn't watch the full show. I think I literally fell asleep watching it. I felt like it was all like award and then add some more ads. Then they're like world premiere and then some more ads and then award, then some more ads, etc., etc. The only thing that I thought that was interesting about the whole award show, and kind of, I don't know about everyone else, but they were a little confused, was Death Stranding. I thought that showed pretty interesting, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of that game now.
Yeah, I mean, prior to now, I mean, what did we really know about Death Stranding, right? I mean, it was like, you knew it was, Kojima, you knew it probably, had that kind of acumen, but you weren't sure because you really weren't sure what the game was, and so you were impressed by what you saw at the Game Awards?
Yep, and hopefully when it comes out in like 7 million years from now, I'll have a PS whatever.
Nice. Well, yeah, hopefully by then you have a PlayStation 4, right? Or whatever it comes out on. If it comes out. It should come out on PlayStation 4, though. I mean, they didn't give a release date, did they? No, I don't think they did. No release date, but yeah, like you said, world premieres, it wasn't just the Game Awards, they announced a lot of stuff. They announced Bayonetta 3, which I thought, obviously interesting. They're going to re-release Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch coming up here. I don't know when that comes out, but I'll definitely be grabbing that to check those games out. And Bayonetta 3 is a real thing. So, yeah, a lot of interesting announcements happened other than, obviously the game winners, which we'll get into in a second. But, Clowns, did you watch it? And if you did, what did you think?
I only watched bits and pieces of it, just from clips. But the Game Awards don't really impress me, to be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's good for the industry. I just personally don't like watching every single moment of that show. I find it quite ad-filled, boring.
Yeah.
But I am happy with some of the winners.
Yeah, we'll get into the winners in just a second, because some of them actually did surprise me that they pulled through it and won. Obviously what didn't surprise me is that Destiny 2 was left out. We talked about that last week, and I knew it wasn't going to win anything. I mean, shit, come on. I can't believe it was nominated for so much. But we'll get into the winners in a second here. Let me just pull it up really quick. So Game of the Year obviously was Breath of the Wild. A lot of people were saying they could have understood if PUBG did win, but Assassin, I know you're pretty happy it didn't win.
Oh yeah, thank God.
A lot of people saying, "Oh well, incomplete game shouldn't win Game of the Year," and if anything, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild was the definition of a complete game. So really, I'm really happy that did end up winning because. It probably deserved it. Last year people bitched about Overwatch winning, and you say what you will. I think Overwatch was probably the game of the year last year, but this year, I feel like right from March, a lot of people expected Zelda, and it's And it's really cool that, Nintendo released a controversial console like the Switch and was able to get a win. Able to get a big win. I mean, they got a lot of big wins. If anything, Nintendo showed they can dominate this industry again because the Game Awards was, a lot of Nintendo stuff. But Clowns, how did you feel about Zelda winning? Were you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, it deserves it, man. I think, Zelda, they did a phenomenal job with Zelda. They came up with something different for the franchise, more open world. And it kind of feels like so open for a Nintendo game. It's like, Zelda's in GTA land almost. The map is kind of big for Nintendo. So it felt kind of good. They deserved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and, some people may say, oh, well, it might not have won in a year where Xbox would put up a better fight. And obviously, as we've all talked about in the show, we're kind of disappointed. And we realized that, Xbox had a terrible year this year in terms of exclusives. Sony, I thought, had a decent year this year in terms of exclusives. Uncharted Lost Legacy, Horizon Zero Dawn up there, fighting for this spot. And it's nice to see Nintendo come out with a game in March that was able to, hold on and win this title. So kudos to them for sure. I mean, if we look at the other awards, Best Game Direction, Zelda won that as well. Won Best Action Adventure Game. I think Best Action Adventure Game and Game of the Year are really two of the biggest awards of the night, and Zelda took them both. Nintendo took both of those. Is that it for? Yeah, that was it for Zelda. But 3 awards is pretty impressive especially for a game that came out in March. I feel like you see games these days win these awards that come out towards the later half of the year because of recency bias. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's nice to see. It's nice to see a game from March take it. But yeah, you look at some of these other awards like Best Art Direction, Cuphead. I know we talked about really wanting that to win, and it did. Well deserved. Cuphead took a few awards. What else? Cuphead got Best Independent Game. And also Best Debut Indie Game. So, are you guys happy about that? Surprise? What do you guys think about that?
Very happy. Cuphead's a great game and deserves what it got.
Yeah. Best Art Direction, we kind of had a feeling that was going to win. If that didn't win that was probably rigged. Best Independent Game, going up against some strong competition there. Best Debut Indie Game, also some strong competition. So, it's nice, and it's like, you look at a game like Cuphead and you wonder what else, Studio MDHR can do. So now that they've won so many awards, they've been received so well, I wonder if this is kind of going to motivate them to do something more, to branch out or to make another Cuphead, or, use that art style maybe to make something completely different. I don't know, but we shall see, I guess.
Yep.
I am happy that, Xbox, as primarily an Xbox gamer, I'm happy that Xbox was represented well in that game. Obviously, as we predicted, and, there was pretty much no shot of anything else winning other than maybe NBA 2K18. But Best Sports Racing Game went to Forza, which, come on. I think GTA Sport was nominated, Project Cars 2. That was kind of a joke of a category in my opinion. Was there anything on here that you guys were kind of surprised about? Assassin, I know you were watching, you were bored, but hey, did anything happen during the night, any of these awards that you were just like, how the hell did that win or something like that?
Overwatch for best, what was it?
Ongoing game.
Yeah, that should not have won. There was many other games that releases more content at least every month or every other month or so. With updates and stuff, so Overwatch should not have won whatsoever.
Yeah, because wasn't that going up against I think we talked about that quite a bit on the show. Wasn't that going up against stuff like GTA Online, like GTA 5 Online, like
GTA Online and Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
I think Destiny 2. That game's been out for 2 months, and that's the best ongoing game. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's kind of a surprise. I'm not surprised because of how well it does in terms of MLG scene, like esports, but at the same time, like you said it perfectly. I mean, those other games provide so much more content and have provided a ton of content. I mean, GTA Online, like that game's been out forever and is still relevant and still sells a ton and still is on the top 10 lists of NPD. So, I mean, that is the definition of ongoing game, and that doesn't win. That's kind of...
They're not afraid to change it up. Like one DLC will be, loops with cars, and the next one will be a heist with flying DeLorean. It's like...
Right. Yeah, exactly. Really quick YouTube chat. Fastback247 says he would count Cuphead, Forza 7, PUBG winning. Oh yeah, PUBG won. Best multiplayer game, which probably obvious. Good win for that. They count that as a plus for Xbox. Brings positive attention to the Xbox. Now I agree with you on Cuphead and Forza, but PUBG, I mean, yeah, that just came out on Xbox. But as we'll get to in a little bit, I would say that has more negative attention to it than positive attention, if I'm being honest. But I mean, yeah, that wins. People will look, they'll be like, oh, can I get that on my PlayStation? No, I can only get it on Xbox. And if you're not a PC gamer, you might grab an Xbox for that. I agree with that, but at the same time, I don't think it'll ever be a situation where people will say, oh, PUBG is an Xbox thing, Yeah. But I could be wrong. What else? Let's look at these other winners here. Most of this.
Okay,
good.
I know some you guys are very excited about.
What?
I know Assassin jumped out of his chair and was like, "Holy shit, Clowns is the best news ever."
What?
Persona 5, man, best RPG.
Oh yeah, that's a big win. I mean, Persona 5, like we talked about, there's just so much going on there, like so much content. Clowns, you were kind of worried about that winning because you weren't sure if it kind of like, touched
the North American market.
Exactly. And clearly it did. Clearly people were impressed with that, and that's a pretty big win. I mean, I know you didn't like Final Fantasy 15 when we talked about it last week in the podcast, but I thought Final Fantasy 15 was a pretty good game. Traditional RPG, probably not as traditional, but that's a big win.
I will say it had fantastic cutscenes.
Yeah, that it did. Good ramen, right, Assassin? Good cup of noodles or whatever representation.
Sure.
Oh man. Jizzle says he didn't watch the show, but looks at it now. He looks at the list now. Good for Mario and Rabbids to win best strategy game. Very underrated game this year. Now, that's interesting you say that. So best strategy game, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I would say that's one of the games that when you look at Switch games that were on sale on Black Friday, that was one that was pretty much universally on sale, which makes you think that it's not that great of a game. I mean, 1-2 Switch you can find on sale. Just Dance you can find on sale. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Like, that one was on sale a lot, but that won best strategy game. So, obviously, that game was good. And I think that kind of, lends itself to what Jizzle said. A very underrated game. Extremely underrated game. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that. Now, for me, it's not necessarily... I think it's pretty repetitive. Like, from what I've played, on my Switch here and at E3, I thought that was kind of repetitive. But, I mean... It is a true strategy game. And what was it going up against? Like Halo Wars 2? Like, come on. Come on. Like, obviously that wasn't going to win. I mean, it's a nice win, but then again, like, what was it going up against? So, I mean, I don't want to downplay it, but, I mean, for $30, if you can get it for like $25, you should probably pick it up. I think that's what it was. I think it was like $30 on Black Friday, so.
What, Mario plus Rabbids?
Yeah.
I missed.
Yeah, Mario plus Rabbids.
It's a good game. From what I've seen, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like you can play on the go. Like on the subway train.
Yeah.
Going to a farm in Wisconsin and you're bored, you just pull that thing out. It's great.
Yeah, if you going from Wisconsin all the way down to LA sometime around June for some big video game conference that happens every year there, and you're looking to play a game, pick up Rabbids. I don't know how long you can get on a battery charge. I know on Zelda you can only get like 3 hours on the Switch Switch battery, but Rabbids is definitely less demanding than Zelda, so you can probably get like 5 hours, Assassin.
Okay.
Nice.
He's like, buy me a Switch, and then we'll talk.
Hey, should have been part of J Street's office pool or whatever it was. He said somebody at his office just won a Nintendo Switch. So, Assassin, now what would you do? Now, I think I asked you this last week in the podcast, but what would you do if you went Christmas morning, you came out, and there was a Switch underneath that Christmas tree?
I would think I'm dreaming. Because I probably am. Because there'd probably be spoons underneath the Christmas tree, not the Switch.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I do got to send him the spork that we promised him.
Yes, yes.
We got to chip in for that. What was it, like $3? I can give you $1.50.
All right. Let's get it done. Real quick before we get off this topic, I thought it was really, I think it was really cool that What Remains of Edith Finch won Best Narrative because that's a 3-hour walking simulator. So that proves that, low cost, low gameplay, low interaction kind of games, if they tell a good story, can still win game awards. So, it beat out AAA titles in this category. So that's kind of a big deal. That's a big deal. So if you haven't played that, you should probably check that out. I'm pretty sure that was on sale recently. But I wouldn't be surprised if that game was on like the Xbox Christmas sale when that finally happens in its glory. And also the Hellblade. Hellblade picked up a ton of shit. Like best audio design. We kind of figured that was going to happen last week when we talked about it. Best performance. Games for Impact. Like what else did it win? Didn't it win one other one? Oh, maybe not. But those are 3 big games that that was a big game for Ninja Theory. I don't think it sold like incredibly well, on PC. I think it did pretty decent well on PC. I think it did better on PlayStation, but that's kind of a game that kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people. I think that game was pretty popular for like a week or so, and then kind of slipped under the radar. And now it wins 3 game awards. I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
What else? There really isn't anything else that we kind of like didn't expect. Best family game, Mario Odyssey, another Nintendo game winning something. Best fighting game, Injustice, as if that wasn't obvious. I love how they give these awards for like best esports team and like best Chinese game and best best esports player. Like, who the hell is this guy? Lee Sang-yuk Faker.
I gotta say something about this Game Award thing. Why do they have a category for best Chinese game? Like, if they're gonna do that,
why not best American game?
They gotta include everybody because people were gonna be insulted.
Yep.
If we did best American game and no other country, there'd be an uproar.
Yep. Let's do, best British game. There's a lot of good British games. Let's do best Japanese game. Let's do, what the hell is Swedish this game? JX3 HD? I wasn't watching the show at this point, but I would love to go back and see what the reaction of the crowd was. Like, did anyone care about this? Do you remember this, Assassin?
I probably was asleep, or it was one of those ones where, he just shot like 4 of them out. I know like Forza was like one where he just like best racing game, Forza, best blah 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 blah. Right. He didn't say it exactly like that, but
right. No, I know what you mean, and that's kind of the thing that I don't really like too much about the Game Awards. If there's one thing that I can really criticize it for, other than the ads, which obviously they need the ads to support that thing, but if there's one thing I can complain about is that they do those rapid fire ones. Like, why not give those people, the same attention as some of the other ones? Like, they do that in other award shows too. I hate that.
The only ones that they should be doing that is for like best esports person or team. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not a game. You're a person who plays a game.
Right.
Congratulations. You shouldn't get an award.
Right.
Maybe they just need to make it longer and throw more ads in.
Oh my god, there's already like 800 ads.
Maybe they need
more.
Maybe Assassin. Maybe they need to bring back that Razor thing. What is it? What the Hydro Man or whatever his name is? The shit guy, right? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about? That big Razor guy or whatever. I don't remember his name. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. But Jizzle thinks best Chinese game equals game exclusive to a territory, which I mean, it's probably accurate. But either way, I mean, if you're just looking at that, you're not automatically assuming that. That's the thing. You know, I mean, if you see this list and you see best Chinese game, you're not thinking, oh, okay, that's just the one in the territory. So, I mean, that's okay to have Chinese games. I mean, aren't there games that are exclusive to Japan? You know? So, I don't know. All right, so that's the Game Awards. I don't think there's really much more to say about it. I mean, like I said, the thing went... the thing did threefold increase in viewership. I think a lot of that had to do with a few things. One is that it was in 4K, because I think a lot of people were interested in watching it in 4K. And from what I watched, I thought it looked really good in 4K. And the other is that it was broadcast on literally everything. I mean, it was on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, like Daily Motion. It was on so many things. That it was kind of hard to even ignore, to be honest. I mean, if you usually, spend the night unwinding on Twitch or on Mixer, you want to watch your favorite streamer or whatever. I mean, it was kind of front and center on those things. So, it's kind of hard to ignore. So I think a lot of people did check it out even for a brief amount of time. So kudos to them. I hope it just gets better. You know what I mean? I hope like they continue this thing. It gets better. They don't make it so much like an orchestra festival, like they do. It gets a little annoying that they make such a theatrical presentation about it and with all the ads and stuff. But I don't know. They need Game Awards. I mean, I think obviously they need Game Awards. So, Ouchie O'Shea in the YouTube chat says awards need more Warframe ads.
One is too many, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ouchie O'Shea, why didn't Warframe win Best Ongoing Game, bruh? Why didn't Warframe lost that category for some reason?
There's not enough ads.
You know what? I really gotta get back. Assassin, let's get back into Warframe a little bit. Let's go play some Warframe again.
I hope you're joking.
Oh, he's serious, dude. Download that crap.
Download it. Yeah, we got other games to play, like PUBG.
Right. Inferno, keep him busy. I may have to download it for him.
There you go.
Just don't install it.
Yeah, don't start the download right now. You'll probably get kicked off the podcast. This awful internet.
Oh yeah, it's true. I forgot about that.
Yep. Speaking of awful internet, the internet is fucked again, ladies and gentlemen. The internet is indeed fucked, and net neutrality was voted down by the FCC. If you missed this and live under a rock, on Twitter, MSN, New York Times, Forbes, everybody had this thing. Because this really impacts every facet of our lives. I mean, who doesn't use the internet on a daily basis? And, if you watch Netflix, you use Hulu. Go ahead, clowns. Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys watched the whole broadcast. I watched the FCC broadcast.
Oh, really? Okay.
Paid attention to it. It was. They had the SWAT team come in because of some threats, and then they resumed normal business, like nothing happened. Mm-hmm. And basically, in his speech, he kind of went on to say that with VR coming out and higher bitrate downloads, the current pipes of the internet today would not be able to succeed in the future because they become bottlenecked at the current prices the ISPs charge. So basically what he's saying is that ISPs want to charge you more to expand their network and raise their prices so you technically can download more. That was his way of hinting at a price increase from ISPs, but he didn't say that outright. And then he went on to say that he believes that there should be some form of regulation of content providers like Google and Twitter for promoted tweets or news that comes up first on their sites. He believes the government should regulate that because it's not fair that they block political stuff or stuff they deem as derogatory or defamatory. He's just hinting at more regulations against what he considers the liberal media, but he's not going to say that. And then once he passes this vote, it's got to go through the courts. And this is where it gets risky because the courts can overturn his decision in a heartbeat. There's a lot of public outcry. Republicans and Democrats, congressmen, senators, they're all going against this thing. Like, they're all coming out because they don't want to lose votes when it comes up for re-election. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they want to fight this. They're threatening to pass a law in Congress if this doesn't get turned down in the courts that basically enact a term of federal net neutrality. And 20 states have signed on to sue the FCC. A lot of great states, except for Florida, they're not on there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. So it's just the start. We don't know what's going to happen. And I know a lot of people are telling me, hey, Clowns, the internet was fine in 2015. It was great back then. But what you guys don't know is that at that point in time, before net neutrality, Comcast was already starting to throttle you, like BitTorrents and streaming. Mm-hmm. They were cutting off your connection and buffering you. And yes, BitTorrents are legal if you're downloading Linux from universities. They were inserting ads, taking over like ads on websites with their own code. So this will affect you YouTubers that use commission or ads on your videos, because ISPs can put whatever they want instead of YouTube's ads on videos. I mean, there's a lot of crap they can do. And they've already tried doing it before net neutrality. Mm-hmm. Traffic shaping, redirection. They didn't want you going to a website. They could redirect you. They could do that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I think, that I think is a common misconception. That last point you just made about net neutrality all of a sudden changing the open internet, because, like, did people forget about throttling happening? Like, that's obviously not an open internet if you pay for 100 Mbps down, and during congestion times, your ISP can deem your Netflix traffic way too impactful and nullify it, maybe slow it down before nullifying it. But I mean, ISPs could do that before this decision and do that now, or and do it in sneaky ways. So it's not like net neutrality all of a sudden ended the good free old internet that everyone should just be entitled to. But at the same time, what's really going to be impacted, I think, is the money. Right now, it's not like ISPs offer, like, okay, you can pay $20 a month and we'll never throttle you. Like, obviously that doesn't exist now, but there is going to be a thing that exists. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but I mean, the writing's on the wall, right? There is going to be a thing that exists that is like, oh, pay $10 for uninhibited access to Netflix. Oh, pay another $10 for uninhibited access to gaming, or to open gaming ports or whatever, right? But, there is sneaky shit that's going on right now, and people are kind of ignoring that because net neutrality is getting so much traction in the news. But I mean, where it's going to hurt all of us as gamers is our wallet. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Spectrum and Comcast already have plans, and publicly in the past stated they want to charge you separate outside of your normal data packages for gaming. They want to charge you separate for gaming, separate for streaming movies, separate for streaming music. And no, you're not going to get like a movie, music, gaming package. No, they want to a la carte that crap, so everything is separate. So hey, you want music? Okay, fine. $5.99 a month. You want gaming? Extra $100 a month. This is what they want to do to you, and this is real, because there is papers out there from these ISPs in the past that stated these things. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you go like on DSL forums and other DSL websites from back in the day, before net neutrality, if you try to upload to YouTube, they used to throttle you like crazy.
Yep.
Like, to upload a 15-minute video could sometimes take upwards between 4 to 7 hours with certain ISPs. So what people were doing back then before net neutrality was they were changing their ports, using VPNs, or encrypting their traffic so that the ISPs couldn't tell that they were uploading to YouTube.
Right. And that's that's where people are numb to the fact that there isn't like this open and free internet where you just get open access and everything's lovely and daisies and roses. Like, people just ignore the fact that stuff exists and that VPNs exist for a reason, and that their ISPs don't want you doing data hungry activities, so they'll throttle you so you stop, so that people in your region get better access. Like, that exists now, and that probably will still exist with net neutrality. I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made that may not exist if companies get more money and open, more broadband and, develop their technology in a greater way. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to pay more money. I mean, especially pertinent to our podcast, like, everyone's going to pay more money to game now. It's just as simple as that. Like, you're going to just pay a gaming fee. And like Colin said, it's going to be, a la carte things. And like Ouchie O'Shea says in the YouTube chat, microtransactioning the internet. It's literally going to be, pay this for this, pay this for this, pay this for this. And we can't do anything about it because, I can't say that we can't do anything about it. If it actually passes, Clowns is right. There are states suing. It has to pass through courts. There's a lot of outcry about it. This may not actually happen anytime soon, if at all, really. They said, let's end net neutrality, but states are suing. There are legal systems to block it. But if this does happen, everyone's just going to be paying more money. It's as simple as that.
And all the people that didn't say anything or didn't pay attention, you're like, why am I paying $450 a month for 100 gigabytes again? Oh, because I accidentally downloaded some games and they put me in the gaming package without telling me. That's right, because without net neutrality, they don't have to tell you. They can just put it on a website and say, hey, if you accidentally download a game and don't have a gaming package, we're just going to add it to your bill.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you think the power has been shifted back to the ISPs, and that's obviously what they want. You'll have companies coming out and saying that they don't want that they're for the people and blah, blah, blah. Give me a break.
The only real competition that we're going to see for the betterment of the people in the industry is in the wireless industry, where they're going to take advantage of this for their 5G spectrum. So they're going to compete harder to get your business. So their prices may go down, but your stable, Comcast, Spectrum, all that stuff, no, they got monopoly already. They don't need to go down in price.
Yeah, who's laughing all the way to the bank? John Legere, the CEO of T-Mobile. Like, not only are they opening up enough spectrum to get you like gigabit cellular data, which is ridiculous, they're adding TV now to T-Mobile. Everybody who has a T-Mobile family plan with a certain amount of lines gets Netflix. They're just like packing on these features when it seems like, you pay the same amount to get more features with T-Mobile, and now with all these ISPs, you're going to be paying more for less. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
You might as well just game on your mobile phones at this point once net neutrality goes away.
Yeah.
And to think about this too, another repercussion you guys are going to face is that, WPA2 has already been cracked. There's script kiddies out there now that could crack it, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see a lot more Wi-Fi hacking, because a lot of these people are going to not want to put their, that data on their bill because they don't want to get cut off. So what do? They just hack yours.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. People are going to be savages now. They're not going to want to pay like $160 to do their gaming. They don't you're just going to crack your neighbor's code and then like play some games and automatically bump them to the gaming tier, and then they're gonna be like, oh, why did my bill go up? I don't game. They're gonna be like 80-year-old people.
or you're a hipster, you go to Starbucks, right? You get your lattes and stuff. All of a sudden you go to pay for your latte, it's like $25. Oh, why is it so high? Oh, because we have free Wi-Fi here, so now we gotta use some of the extra money to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, prices went up because we actually support everything here at Starbucks, so you can go ahead and bring your Xbox in. We have the gaming package, so go ahead and your latte is like $10 now, but you can bring your Xbox in if you want. Unbelievable.
There's a joke. I just want to say this about Ajit Pai on Twitter, and it shows a picture of him on Tinder, and it says, "Hey, I couldn't get a date on Tinder, so I reversed net neutrality, so you can't get one either."
Nice. Yeah, I did see that. Man, I wish I had screen grabbed that. Oh my god. That's funny. Can you imagine if there's like a Tinder tier? Like if there's an online dating tier, like $5 or more for online dating. Oh my god. That'd be hilarious.
But the one benefit is you won't have to see a lot more complaining on Facebook, you know? People won't be paying for the extra social package.
Yeah, nice. That's true. That's true. We'll get to that in a second. What it's actually going to do to companies, not just common folk like me and you, but what it's going to do to devs and service providers in general, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like what it's going to do to those people. But Assassin, you haven't been saying anything about this, and you're probably going to be the most affected by it.
Yeah, if it truly goes away and Spectrum charges me like $100 a month just to play games, I'm gonna go sit in the corner and probably cry.
Don't you live close to like a McDonald's or something? You could like get on their Wi-Fi or whatever.
Not that close.
Oh, all right. Well, gonna have to figure something out, because if anybody's been salivating over this whole net neutrality thing, it's been Spectrum. They've been sitting there, trying to wipe up the spit on their face. They've been dying for this to happen. Oh man, I love, if this happens, I just want to see like what they mail you, Assassin. I want you to like take a picture of that and share it for all of us. They're probably gonna mail you something being like, so net neutrality's over and it's time to up your charges. Here you go. And they have like all the tiers, and it's like, you want to go to MSN? $5. You have an Xbox?
That's when I take a trip to the FCC, lube up that bill, and shove it up their fucking ass. So they'd be like, here, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we're talking about this like this is all said and done, and it's closer to being all said and done, but at the end of the day, like, how are people going to let this happen? This is just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's not a party issue. It's not a political thing, because both Democrats and Republican congressmen and senators are against the repeal of net neutrality. Don't, start believing that it's one side versus the other, because it's not. Both sides want an open internet.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people trying to make this a Republican versus Democrat thing is just ridiculous. I mean, this is about the fucking internet. Like, this isn't abortion, gun laws. Like, this is about something that, in my opinion, most, like, Americans, I mean, not to, brag. I know a lot of UK people, watch this podcast. I know a lot of people watch this podcast from a lot of parts of the country that aren't as rich as the U.S. But, I mean, in the U.S., it's just, we may be ignorant, but we just expect internet to be available at places, or we expect to have access to that, or we expect speeds to be faster than, DSL speeds. We expect like the average internet package to have, very fast broadband speeds. And now, like, you can't expect anything, because, the ways the companies are going to compete now is like, who charges the lowest gaming fee? Who charges the lowest Netflix fee? Like, it's just ridiculous. And the fact that people are trying to make this like Republicans are repealing net neutrality, like, no, it's not Republicans. You know what I mean? It's like people trying to make everything political, everything, party dependent. It's like we're all accessing the same internet. It's not, oh man.
What I also want to say was some of the arguments about the prior to 2015 net neutrality thing. People are like, oh, the internet was fine back then. No, because Twitch used to buffer a lot more back then, and net neutrality came along, and less buffering happened on Twitch, and less buffering happened on other streaming services. So once net neutrality goes away, we're going to see a lot more buffering on that stuff again.
Yeah, unless you pay your game streaming package, which will probably be different than your gaming package, which will get you uninhibited access to Twitch and Mixer, and then, if people are doing giveaways on those, you'll have a better chance. It'll be like pay to win, essentially.
Yeah, EA of the internet.
The EA of the internet, right? The EA of the internet. But yeah, Ouchie Osha is right. I mean, what's the internet been about is freedom. Like, the internet has connected everybody in the world, has connected people, and now, like, you know, with net neutrality gone, it's like isolating a lot of people from getting what they're used to getting and getting what they think, what, in my opinion, you should get when you have access to the internet. Like, the internet is the World Wide Web, not like the world selectively narrow web. You know, it's just like, come on, man. Good. Let's ask you gonna say something.
No, I just said yep.
Oh, you just like over there knowing that Spectrum's gonna bring the metaphorical dick over to your house and.
Yep.
Man. All right, real quick about this before we get to the last topic, which is PUBG. What do you guys think this is going to do to like devs and publishers and like companies like Facebook? I know, Clowns, you already said Facebook's probably going to get a drop in user numbers because people aren't going to want to pay the social fee. Netflix, I know Netflix is probably dreading. I know they're going to have to get some sort of kickback from this decision because they're probably dreading the fact that they're going to lose like I would expect them to lose like at least 10 to 15% of people like immediately, at least.
No, and Netflix, the CEO of Netflix publicly stated before a lot of pressure was on him on this year of net neutrality anyway. He said that we're not worried, and this was initially, we're not worried about net neutrality because we can pay for the fast lanes that ISPs want to charge us. He says if we were just starting up again, then we would care about net neutrality. And then he got a lot of, you know, feedback from other tech engineers from like Google and Facebook, and all of a sudden they cared about net neutrality again.
Right. Interesting.
But he publicly stated that he expects fast lanes.
Right.
For companies.
Right. I think today they put out something.
Yeah, today they said they stand with us and they'll defend the internet. So did the EFF and the ACLU.
Yeah. They said something on Twitter. We're disappointed in the decision to gut net neutrality, predictions that ushered in an unprecedented era of innovation, creativity, civic engagement. This is the beginning of a longer legal battle. Netflix stands with innovators, large and small, to oppose the misguided FCC order. Yeah, I mean,
just hope Google Fiber gets sent everywhere around the world before.
Nice.
Because Google hates the repel of net neutrality.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. So Assassin, like, I know your favorite thing is multiplayer online games. I know you love your Call of Duties, you love your Battlefront 2s, you love your not your Overwatch, but you love your PUBG right now. I know because you've been playing that a lot. But you know, do you think devs are gonna make some tough decisions to make multiplayer kind of not the main focus now that a lot of people may not be doing online multiplayer anymore, or they're gonna be a lot less people doing it? What do you think?
Well, I expect some ghost towns in some of these games for sure. A bunch of crappy single players.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tough decision for devs to make multiplayer focused games. Like, if you think you've got the market, if you think your market will spend the money to get on this gaming tier, then you'll probably be all set. But if you're worried, like say you're a small indie dev and you just been working on multiplayer only party game, online multiplayer is projected to be like 80% of your revenue, and you're ready to put that out, and now because of this you're probably going to cut your sales in like half or something because half of your demographics not going to get the gaming tier. Like casual gamers, I don't think casual gamers are going to grab the networking tier. You know?
Nope.
Like, you know, people that would buy and play, like the majority of people that would get their Xbox to play like Just Dance or like Wheel of Fortune or like Monopoly and stuff like that, like Uno, you know, I know we love that, but I think a lot of casual gamers buy those kinds of games in hordes, and I think those kinds of people would just be like, forget it. You know, forget it. Because they're not going to pay $10 a month just to have access to that stuff that they already had access to. It's like, when people are used to something for free, or for less money, and then all of a sudden they're getting charged more money for the same thing or for less, people don't take kindly to that, especially the core audience. So I think this is gonna hurt indie developers that are making online specific games. Like, what if an indie developer had a really good idea to combat PUBG, like a Fortnite kind of thing, but like on steroids, and they were planning on coming out and they needed the internet to capture their audience, and now because of this, their projected audience is not going to get gaming tier, and now they're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
Clowns, what do you think? What do you think the devs and pubs are thinking at this point?
I think they're going to do a wait and see approach. I think that, a lot of them will be concerned because the issue for them is that for small indie studios that are not, if the people are not close together, they use, online apps to send code back and forth. So if they're constantly modifying large amounts of code, it's going to be expensive for the studio to afford that bandwidth. And they're probably going to want to leave the United States, like Jizzle said.
Yep. You think you're seeing an influx of indie devs from Poland and Sweden and Europe now? I mean, shit. You're going to find none of them in the U.S. because they just won't be able to afford to develop it, let alone project enough sales to people that have a gaming tier. Like, it's not only, that's a good point, Clowns, that I wasn't even thinking. It's going to not only affect how many people buy their game, but it's going to affect the development of the game, the testing of the game, because we're moving not only to an unequal internet, but we're also moving to like tiered services, tiered data caps and stuff like that. So
another big issue for publishers and devs with this Inferno will be the fact that back in the day, they used to send physical discs to reviewers before the game release, right?
Yep.
Because it was so much cheaper because we didn't have a fast internet. But then a lot of times the games would get pirated because these reviewers or whatnot would just hand it off to whoever. And if the internet rises in cost because of the repeal of net neutrality, we're going to see a lot more devs want to send out physical copies. And then in the end, it's going to hurt the industry because there'll be more pirated copies. Whereas now you could just put a code in the system, which is already DRM protected, and people really can't pirate that unless their system is modified, which a lot of reviewers will never modify their system.
Right. And also, like, when it comes down to a reviewer making a decision and, they have like a 1 terabyte cap, and, what if there's a gaming tier that lets you do like X amount of gaming a month? Like, what if there's a tier that's like $5 to do like 200 gigs of gaming a month, and then it's like $10 to do unlimited gaming a month? And some people are like, oh, I'm not going to do more than 200 gigs of gaming. Let me just do the $5 one, right? They want to save money. Now, when they get close to a 200 gigabyte cap, they may not review a game, or they might not play a game and download it and buy it right away because they're up against their cap, And
I don't know if you guys remember this, and this was before net neutrality as well, but you remember when you used to get the America Online discs, like AOL 3.0, 4.0 days?
Oh, yeah.
You would pay by the hours if you went over the hours, and you didn't have the unlimited monthly plan. Yep. So imagine something that happens with your ISP today. They decide, hey, we're going to go back to hourly fees. Or you can pay an unlimited fee per month, which $300, and doesn't include everything. I mean, these are possibilities. And companies are greedy. It's a capitalistic society, so money talks, and it matters to them, and that's why they lobbied the FCC so hard.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility just to make people less upset about all these changes. If ISPs were like, here, we include gaming, we include Netflix, we include this, but then like there's an asterisk and it's like up to 200 gigabytes of usage, and after that, like not even making you sign up for it, kind of like what we said earlier in this podcast, like not even making you actively sign up, but like once you hit over that gigabyte threshold, cha-ching, 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 I wouldn't be surprised if companies like tried to ease their try to ease their customers into it like that. Like, say that all this stuff is still included, but, you know, put a cap on it, and then once you go over that cap, you get hit with huge charges. So,
and, you know, in front of you mentioned asterisk, they don't even have to put that on the paperwork anymore. Right. They don't even have to say it verbally. They could just say, all our terms are listed on our website. Oh, right. What terms are they? Nope, they're listed on our website. Can you explain it to me? No, I don't have to. Go to our website.
Man. Yeah, so let's see. I mean, I feel like we should move on to PUBG, but I mean, let's just see what happens, because, like, yeah, this was a big decision today, and now people are interested when they weren't interested before, conveniently. And you know, there are a lot of states suing, like you said, Clowns, and like Jizzle said in the chat, and let's see what happens. But not a good day in the fight against a free internet and even internet, equal internet.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm being throttled in front of what did you say? You're skipping.
Pay $10 more to continue this conversation. All right. On to PUBG, which Assassin, I'm going to let Assassin go first here because I know he's been playing it a good amount today. And he's been watching some streams, checking out some things. I've been playing a very little bit on the Xbox. I'm not going to lie. I've been really busy this week, but I played a few matches last night. I played a match or two today. I've watched some streams where people... I watched that Digital Foundry video. I watched a few other community impressions. Randall Thor 19's video early today on this thing. And I've been kind of like mulling over some thoughts here. But Assassin, I know you've been getting some of those sweet first place chicken dinners. So I want you to go first and tell me what you think of this thing. And first of all, before you give your impressions, I need you to say what you're playing it on, Xbox One or Xbox One X, rather.
So I played on the Xbox One X. I played both with game capture and without.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So if anyone doesn't know, if you turn off the DVR, you know, you record clips or take screenshots. Supposedly the game works better and it feels a little bit better. It could just be me. I could be stupid. I don't know.
No, it's not just you. It's not just you, because that was on Reddit. Like, somebody posted that on Reddit, and now a lot of people are doing it, and, like, I tried it too. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is smoother. But go ahead, continue.
So when I played my first game with my first ever game of PUBG, I had the game capture on, and, you know, everyone was like, oh, the game runs at, like, 4 frames per second, and it you know, the Digital Foundry did show it, you know, on the normal Xbox One, you know, hitting 4. And I'm like, okay, so this is going to be bad. It's going to be terrible. I know the X runs a little bit smoother than like the S or the original, but like I did hit the frames, you know, problems, and like it wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't like, remember when Watch Dogs 1 came out and we played multiplayer and that thing would drop to like 1 frame per second? Like it wasn't that bad. Like I still, you know, I didn't maybe want to look at the people like in the beginning because, you know, they were like skipping all over the place, you know, because you could tell like they're terrible frame rate or whatever. But like after you got out of the plane, it really was kind of not the smoothest experience, but it was smooth, you know, like you could kind of tell it wasn't running at 30, but it wasn't running at 4 either. So there was times where Clowns and I, especially the last match we played, there was some like skipping and some frame rate issues, but we were just running because the blue line was catching up to us. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like the game, I think is a lot of fun. Clowns and I got our first chicken dinner. Best feeling ever, I think, with the game like that. Very lucky. Clowns like died halfway through or 3/4 into the game.
No, I died with 9 people left, and the guy was going to shoot Assassin. Right. And I ran in front of the bullets to save Assassin. So, sacrifice.
What a sacrifice.
And I ran out of bullets, and the last kill was with the pistol. You know, great feeling.
See, and that's the thing. Like, that's the draw of PUBG. And I know Jizzle's in the chat, and I know he's talked to me, and he hates it. He thinks you're a fanboy if you think it's acceptable on the Xbox. Listen, I'm with Assassin here. I expected shit from what I heard on Twitter. I expected shit from what I heard from Digital Foundry for the most part. I expected shit from people streaming it the first day, saying it was a mess and all this, whatever. And then I played it. And I've played it on my PC. Listen, I played it on my PC at 120 frames per second, guys. Like, I know what PUBG feels like at, you know, some of its best, okay? I'm not fanboying out here. Like, I have it on PC, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's better on PC. Like, it's definitely better on PC. Surprise, surprise, right? I'd rather play it on PC. But this Xbox port is by no means awful. You know what I mean? It's by no means like a disgrace. Now, on Xbox One S, I've played it on that too. I have my Xbox One S right here next to me. I tried it on my monitor. Now, that's a disgrace. That's a fucking disgrace. Okay? That's a fucking disgrace. Interestingly, if you go on either of these and you plug a keyboard in and you hit the O button, you can see some of the graphical settings, and it looks like that the Xbox One S runs this on like very low textures and very low details and stuff like that. I would tend to agree with that. I know Digital Foundry did a kind of an analysis, and they said it runs a little bit better than very low. In my experience, I've checked it out on very low on my PC just to see, you know, how fast it would run frame rate wise on my GTX 1070. I think it looks about the same as very low. On PC, if you're asking me. I think it looks awful on the Xbox One S, to be honest. And they need to do something in terms of optimizing it or lowering the resolution, or they need to do something, because that looks like absolute dog shit. And the frame rate issue, like Assassin said, like when you drop in at first and you get that frame rate stuttering, you get that a lot more in the S. It's unplayable, in my opinion. It's completely unplayable. And because of that, it makes it being exclusive to Xbox almost a null and void point, because not everyone has an X, and the tens of millions of people that have an S are not going to want to play this fucking thing, because it does not play well on the S. It just flat out doesn't. I will argue anyone. I know there are some, like Jizzle's right. I mean, there are some fanboys out there that will say it is playable on the S and they enjoy it. Man, you have low standards. You have really low standards, because like I put on the slide, I mean, it's fucking poop emoji. It's shit. And Xbox right in the YouTube chat. I mean, we got to keep in mind that this is game preview. You know, it hasn't had a 6 to 8 month head start like it has on PC. I mean, this is completely new territory for something like this. But my biggest, and we'll get to Clown's thoughts in a second on the game in general, but my biggest problem with PUBG on both Xbox One X and One S and the way it plays, my biggest problem about it is that there already exists a game that does it better, and that's Fortnite. Like, I think Fortnite is better in almost every single way on Xbox. Other than like realistic graphics, I think it's better in every single way. I think the frame rate's better. I think the controls are better. I think the action is better. I think the stability is better. So like Fortnite has already had such a head start that it's like you need to work on converting people from a free to play game that does it better to a game that doesn't play as well but is well known. You know what I mean? Yep. But Clowns, before we get into that, that kind of was a little bit of a tangent. But what did you think of it, bud? Because I know you were kind of against it because it took so long to come out, and I'm a little against it for that too. I think to come out in this state and to be this long is bad. But now that you've played it, you're kind of liking it a little better, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think man, okay, how do I say this? It is in game preview, right? It's an early release game. It's not a full game yet. It is $30, so it's not the price of a full game. But it is a lot of fun. It is addictive. It's great when you play with people. It has its issues, but it's not as bad as what people made it out to be. It's not like everybody on Twitter that was saying, "Oh, the frame is so bad." it's barely playable at some points. That's not true at all. It's not that bad. If it's that bad, you have a bad internet connection. Because Sass and I did not experience that exact problem that everybody on Twitter is complaining about. We were able to shoot people just fine. We were able to run and hide. The worst thing I had in that game was the fact that I was trying to revive Assassin, and I got shot from behind. That had nothing to do with lag or frame rate issue. It had to do with the fact that it takes so long to revive somebody. So a lot of these complaints are null and void because they're exaggerating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people around, but that's it. When me and Assassin were running by ourselves off in the middle of nowhere, it didn't really dip that much at all.
Right. Right.
I mean, there was a few instances where you could tell, the frame rate dropped when we were running, but like every time we were in a gunfight, it felt, not really a drop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're blaming your aim for the frame rate, you might need some better aiming skills. Frame rate.
Yep. I agree. I think the frame rate thing is extremely overblown. I think it's completely overblown. It does it run as well as Fortnite, and Xbot is getting on me in the YouTube chat about comparing comparing the devs for PUBG, what is it, Bluehole, right? Comparing Bluehole to Epic Games. And you know what? Yeah, I am. I'm going to compare the two because, if we know anything about the Xbox and how that compares to PC architecture, right? We know that, and this is bad for me to argue against Xbox and Xbot in this point because I know Xbot knows his PC part architecture is Xbox and console hardware architecture. But if there's anything we know is that the Xbox is very similar to a PC, and if Microsoft and Bluehole could collaborate and figure out which was more important to fans, getting this thing at 1440p at a very, very stable frame rate, whatever it was, or getting it at 4K just to say it's 4K and to be the frame rate it is, I think the choice should have been to get it at whatever it was, 1440p, with a stable frame rate, or with less game crashing. I mean, the thing crashes left and right too, like shit. I played like 6 games, and maybe this is an isolated issue, but I've heard a few other people say this, but I think the game is unstable and crashing as well. I've seen like guys like floating around on the screen. I've seen like people clipping through things. Like I know this is on the PC, like this is an issue on PC as well, but at the same time, like you've had a 6-month head start on the PC. You should know what people value. Like you on PC, like on Steam, for instance, right? Devs can see what people are playing their game on. Like if they're playing on this hardware, if they're playing at this resolution, like they get those stats. I guarantee you most people play at lower resolutions at higher frame rates on games like this. Because like Assassin said, like it gets down to it gets down to the wire. You get excited. Your heart's racing. Like that's the whole point of this game. Like 1v99, right? Like you're going in and you get down to the wire here, and you have to make these twitch movements, shots, quick decisions, and stuff. And for some people, 30 frames per second or stuttering here and there is a make or break. Now for me, it's not. For Assassin, obviously, it's not. Clowns doesn't think it really is. But for some people, like Jizzle, for instance, like Jizzle plays a lot of Fortnite, was excited for PUBG, I know for a fact, played PUBG, played a match, got in a situation where there was a lot of stuttering, and he missed his shots and lost, okay? And it hurt his perception of the game, obviously. If you're looking at the YouTube chat, you're seeing that. But, it's like I don't want to give it a pass because it's game preview, but you also have to look at it and see that, it isn't a finished product. Like that, they say that right from the get-go,
And we are paying to alpha test it.
Right. You're paying to alpha test it. That's right. And it's probably not going to be 60 when it comes out of preview, right? It's going to be 30 still, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe it will be 60, and then people can stop bitching about paying money for a game preview game. And, you know, do you guys agree with the fact that they probably, I don't know how to word this because I don't think if you guys agree with me or not, but let me just put it out there. Do you think that they should have not put it in 4K and had it as stable as possible? Or do you think that they should have just like pushed the 4K thing and said, see, we can get it at 4K?
They should have just put it at both 1080p, 30, and then, because I thought what they were going to do was wait a while to get the game Xbox One X enhanced, with 4K HDR and whatever they wanted to do, but I guess they didn't do that.
Well, from what I can understand about this whole thing is that they made the announcement about December 12th being the launch date, and from what I've heard, they like shit themselves when they realized like how close that was. You feel like they made that announcement and it was like forever. You're like, oh, how could they wait that long? Like December, we talked about it on the podcast. Like, was that a good date? Right? Remember that? And we were like, oh, it's kind of a long time, but there's nothing really in that time period. So strategically, it's right. But from what I understand, from what I've heard from people, is that they made that announcement and then like a day later, they kind of were thinking about it and they were like, shit, this is coming up really fast. We're not ready for this. And, I just think that you have one shot, and this is the argument against game preview games. And I know, people are entitled to their wrong opinion, right? People are entitled to make whatever opinion they want for whatever reason and whatever, right? You have one shot to make a good impression on someone. And then if you make a bad impression, you have to do like 5 or 7 or 10 things to like convince someone to go back. And PUBG from the get-go made a bad impression on a lot of people that were excited about it.
I feel like with the game that says game preview on it, like you should keep your expectations kind of low. Like I understand this is like the biggest game of the year so far, with it selling so much. Like you can't just be like, oh my god, this is gonna run 1080p, 30. Game's gonna be phenomenal. It's not gonna have any issues. I feel like some people are doing that. Right. If this were like PlayerUnknown's Battleships, like no one would give a shit. Like people would be like, oh, it's game preview, who cares? Like, it's gonna get better. But now because it's PUBG, it is the PUBG, right? It is the the 20-something million copy seller on PC in like 6 to 8 months. Like it is the game, right? Winner of best multiplayer, and it's not even fully out. Like people are judging it more harshly. I'm judging it more harshly because Fortnite's already out. Like if there were no Fortnite, I'd be like, okay, I'm on this every single night. Like let's fucking go, right? Let's do this. But because Fortnite's out, it's like, okay, do I want to play PUBG and know that it's a little bit of a mess, or do I want to play Fortnite and know that it's like rock solid stable now at this point, or close to it? That's the thing. Let's just beat to the punch.
I think that Fortnite kind of beat PUBG, and they did it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. On console for sure.
They're pretty much an alpha beta game also, so people are comparing it to that. But man, Fortnite is more cartoonish.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. It certainly is, and that's the knock. Like a lot of people aren't into that shit. Like a lot of people aren't into like building staircases to heaven out of nowhere and being like, what the fuck? Like what is this guy building this like staircase to nowhere? You know what I mean? How is he doing that? Like people are against that. I agree. That's the knock against it. PUBG is way more realistic, way more. It feels more like those shooters that Xbox people really love. But at the same time, like, and Xbox makes a decent point. Like, how can you compare Epic to Bluehole, right? Bluehole's had a game out for 8 months. Epic's been in business for years. But, like, people don't look at that. The common person doesn't say, oh, it's because Epic has been around for longer, so we have to cut Bluehole some slack. Like people don't just normally say that, you know what I mean? People are going to make the decision, okay, this is free to play, runs better, or this is what everybody's been talking about but runs and looks like shit. I'm gonna go with Fortnite. Like even Fortnite on base hardware destroys what PUBG looks like on base hardware and plays like. And I know it's just the first week, and I know, you could judge it. You may say I'm judging it a little too harshly, but it's just like if you compare it to something, it's hard not to. You know what I mean? That's with everything in life. You know what I mean? That's like at Best Buy, right? They put this TV next to this TV, and they strategically buy spots on the TV area, right? Like LG wants to be here, and Vizio doesn't want to be anywhere close to the OLEDs because they know they're going to get blown away, or like, you know what I mean? They want to like strategically place themselves. Same thing with this, PUBG comes out at the end of this year. Fortnite's been out for a little while. Like people have been loving Battle Royale and Fortnite, and it's free. So it's like, people have already got that taste in their mouth. So you got to do something to blow them away. And I don't think PUBG has done anything to blow them away yet. I think the graphics, they definitely haven't beat on realism and stuff. But, man, when it comes to stability, I'd rather play Fortnite. But, all right, really quick before we get out of here, let's talk about the controls, because a lot of people made an issue with that, right? A lot of people are like, oh, PC, keyboard and mouse is the only way to play PUBG. No way I'm getting a controller and getting my ass blown away, right? But so Assassin, let me have your opinion on this. I know you haven't played it on PC, so I'd like to just get your opinion. How long did it take you a while to kind of get accustomed to it, or were you kind of just like finding the controls kind of intuitive?
Well, some of the controls I don't completely understand. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like when we were getting, when we won the match, like I didn't know how to throw a grenade. Like a grenade would have been perfect to blow the last two people up, or the quick way to put on some bandages or whatnot. Like I accidentally will fire my gun or something. Like I still don't know those like specific controls, but like the other ones, like to fire guns or swap guns, is very, very easy. But the reloading, it annoys me because the X button is you have to hold it to reload. X is also to open doors and grab items. So it's really kind of annoying because you play like Call of Duty, you'll hit X and reload. You don't have to hold it. Right. Which throws me off. There was something else. But I mean, other than that, like just kind of tapping buttons, figuring out what they do. After a while, I'm like, okay, so if I double tap the left trigger, I'm going to go into like a first person aiming situation there. So then, I don't have to be third person.
Dude, I'll tell you with that, I was like, I picked up a red dot on my like ump or whatever it was. Yeah. I attached it and I'm like, I'm pressing in the right stick. I'm like, where the fuck is the sight on this thing? Like, I know I put a sight on. I like hid behind a tree. I went to my inventory, double checked I had it. I'm like, where is the sight on this motherfucker? And then like I just happened to double press left trigger for some reason, and then it came up. But yeah. I mean, the controls, obviously, the keyboard and mouse, really much easier to do a lot of stuff. Like picking up stuff off the ground that you want to get and leaving stuff that you don't want to get so you don't fill up your inventory. I mean, I think that's a lot easier on the keyboard and mouse. Navigating the menus when you do go into your inventory, I think is a little cumbersome at first, but you get used to it after a few matches. I don't think it's too crazy. The default sensitivity controls are, in my opinion, shit, but some people may be used to it. But is it me or does like the ADS sensitivity a little whack?
I think when you say like when you're in third person or first person, I feel like it's
in third when you ADS like double tap.
I don't know, it feels fine to me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I have weird sensitivities on like every game.
Right. All right, Clown's last word on this. What do you think of the controls in the game? I'm not sure. Have you played it on PC? I don't know if you have.
I did, and I died because the controls and keyboard and mouse were not for me. I wasn't good at it. It's gonna take you some time to get used to it, but I think for the Xbox One X version or S version, whatever you play on, I think the controls are a little complicated at first. Some of the stuff you start getting used to. I wish they can make it easier, but the game is so complex. I don't think they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think they will be able to either. I think if they're gonna make adjustments to things, it's gonna be like the D-pad stuff. Because, like Assassin said, like the throwing the grenade, I don't think that's intuitive at all. Like, to me, that didn't make a lot of sense why they mapped it to, what is it, like right on the D-pad or some shit?
Yeah, right on the D-pad. I think down on the D-pad, it's like your melee weapon. Left is like your, what is it? To change the toggle, your gunfire.
Gunfire, yep. And up is bandages or health packs or whatever, medikits.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, I think that, I don't know if there's a way right now, but I think they'll probably make that a little more customizable. I think they should make everything customizable, to be honest.
Well,
sorry, Assassin, go ahead.
The settings, like, there isn't really much, like, changing for settings. Like, I was trying to, because I thought the game was a little bit too dark at times. I wanted to change the brightness. Can't do that. Like, I think the only settings is, like, look at your controls and then change your sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm expecting them to add that in. I think they would just focus on getting this thing working in an efficient manner. And don't get me wrong, like I think that this thing does work like well enough to play. I think it's really overstated that this game is shit. Like I don't think this game is shit. I don't think it's as good as Fortnite on console, but I don't think it's shit. Like I do enjoy it, and I want to play it tonight. And I'm excited to play it tonight. But and that you do get that rush. You still get that rush that these games give you. And that's what keeps you going back and back, right? Back to it. Even if you come in, if you come in sixth, you come in 56th, you come in first, you still want to get back into it. It's a nice game to do that. And I think, other than dropping in, I think the frame rate stuttering is tolerable. But I mean, it's noticeable, It's not. It's something that in a game like this on hardware, like the Xbox One X, you shouldn't be like focusing on that. You shouldn't like see that and be like, oh, here we go again. Like there must be a lot of people around. There must be a vehicle coming on my screen because here's a stutter like that's affecting my gameplay in some way. You should. Okay, go ahead, Assassin.
Heads up, if you're playing with clowns, he likes to put park the motorcycle upside down.
Nice.
No, that's not what happened.
I know. I'm just saying shit. It was hilarious. Like I did stupid shit with the motorcycle. Like I stopped and got out instead of driving away from enemies. Like it's funny, but it's funny and stupid. But
Jizzle. There's one thing I want to say about Jizzle. He said that some parts of the game he is excessively said is terrible. But when we were driving the motorcycle, I was driving Assassin to his safety, and I was going, full speed in the motorcycle. I hit a bump in the grass, and we flip upside down, and we're driving upside down through some of the grass until it flips back over. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Some of the vehicle physics are all even on PC though. Like people shit on that. That's a PC thing as well. It's not like that's just it came to Xbox, so now the vehicle physics suck. That's a game problem. So
you can see some videos of people like doing flips in cars and like landing on people.
Right.
Shot through. He got headshotted through.
Oh my god!
Like two sides of the car.
Yeah, my head was like on one side of the door, not even in the window, and it's just like dead. I'm like,
yep, that's PUBG, baby. That's PUBG. So yeah, I mean, that's why on this slide here I put like the OK symbol over the Xbox One X. I put the fucking turd on the Xbox One S, is because like if I were to recommend it, I know you guys, you guys are enjoying it. You guys recommend it on the X. I certainly recommend it on the X. I don't recommend on the S. Like if you just have an S or base hardware, I mean, my recommendation is to wait. I would not grab it. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to get bad first impression. Just hold that until it's been out for like a month or so and it's been patched. I mean, they're going to patch it. This is a huge game. They're going to be working on this. It's not like they're going to give up on it. So, I mean, remember when like Ark Survival Evolved first came out, and now look at it now. You know what I mean? So, like, game preview games are to, you know, be seen as that. But at the same time, try Fortnite and try PUBG and tell me which one's better. Like, tell me which one plays better right now. And it's definitely not PUBG. But you may like the visuals. You may like the gameplay a little bit better. So, I would say it's definitely worth it to grab it on Xbox One X. And sometimes you can get a physical deal on this game, which just comes with a code in the box. But
stickers.
And what? Oh, and stickers?
Stickers, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. My brother picked it up and we game share, so I don't know. He better give me those stickers then. But yeah, I mean, that's PUBG. I mean, I got to play it more to make, you know, we all got to play it more to make, you know, final thoughts on the thing. But initial impressions is that, you know, it plays a little different than PC, so don't expect to come in and play exactly like the PC. And don't expect it to be perfect, because it certainly is not. But still decent. All right, so that's it for episode 158. It's been about an hour and a half. Thank you, gents. I know you, Assassin, you've been like dying to get back to PUBG. You've got like the splash screen on your Xbox as we speak, ready to go.
No, my Xbox is off. I'm getting one of those chicken dinner withdrawals, you know.
Yep. I'm gonna be
Somebody
definitely.
said Warframe too, so
Yeah, I mean, we gotta get Warframe going, obviously.
yep.
Or not.
Or not, yeah, right. So yeah, thanks for coming and checking out the podcast. If you agreed, disagreed, let us know in the chat, and let us know in the comments below. Obviously, let us know on Twitter. Our shit has been cycling below, so if you want to play some PUBG, add us on Xbox, send us a message, be like, saw you on the podcast, so we don't know you're just a regular, you know, a random creeper. But yeah, hit us up and tell us what you guys think, because PUBG is arguably the biggest game on Xbox this year, and we want to hear what you guys think. You know, everything else, just search 4GwQPodcast, you'll find us. You know, YouTube, obviously, subscribe if you haven't. If you didn't like the show, obviously don't subscribe, but let us know what we can change, and we'll work on that. But like I said at the beginning, check out the chicken giveaway, the ultimate Christmas giveaway, which we'll have a Gleam link on our Twitter pretty soon. So we'll see you guys later. We'll be on Xbox, obviously, playing some PUBG, or you know, I may be on my PS4 playing Knack 2. I just got that at discount.
No.
Yeah, you gotta pick it up, clowns.
With your boys.
Yep, that's right. Knack 2 is multiplayer now, so you gotta pick that shit up so we can co-op that shit. But yeah,
Assassin doesn't have a PS4.
He may win it as part of Chicken's giveaway, right, Assassin? You've been going for that?
I am trying very hard to win the Basement Radio Arcade's PS4 giveaway.
Nice. Good guys over there. So hopefully you win, Assassin. I would love to see you in that. You better make a video if you do. You need to make a video for 4 guys being like, I won this thing. I'm super excited to have a PS4 again. This is like the 5th PS4 I've had because I keep trading them in.
No, I only had one. Except that one is better looking than the rounded edge.
Yeah. Whatever. But it's still a PS4, so at least you'll have it. All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace out, Cub Scouts.